Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. We are still in chapter 6 of the book of Judges, reading the story of Gideon, a very important one of the judges, and we read the story of so far of how he was appointed by God to take the people and rescue them from the hands of the Midianites. And we learned of his humility. We learned of his reluctance to take upon himself this monumental task because of his lack of confidence in himself. But so far he's holding up there, and he's managed to destroy the altar of the Baal and demonstrate to the people that it's only through faith in God himself and rededicating themselves to God himself that they will be successful. And we picked up we ended the last podcast with verse 32 in chapter 6 with the episode, the completion of the episode where the people of the town wanted to execute Gideon because he destroyed the altar to Baal, and then Gideon's father Yoash stood up in his defense and said, if Baal is so great, let Baal defend himself, don't touch my son. But now the winds of war are building. The people V'chol Midian, this is verse 33, V'chol Midian, and all of the people of Midian, V'Amalek, and their allies from Amalek, Uvnei Kedem, and the other allies, the people of Kedem, the Kedemites, Ne'esvu Yachtav, they gathered together, which is both very ominous, because apparently they're planning a big attack on what until now were the very weak Israelites. But it also presents an opportunity, of course, for Gideon to smash them all at once. Vayavru vayachanu be'emek Yisrael, and they camped in the valley of Jezreel, the Emek Yisrael, the valley in which a lot of action takes place throughout this time in history. This great fertile valley, the Jezreel Valley. So here they are, all the enemies gathering ready to attack. Someone has to stand up and defend the people of Israel. And who's that going to be? V'ruach Adonai, in the spirit of God, Lavsha, as Gideon had enveloped, as the best translation I see of that word, Lavsha. Lavsha means has dressed him, dressed up Gideon. Gideon has now covered in the Ruach of God and the Spirit of God. So we see Gideon now as a religious figure, a religious leader, bringing the people to God. That's why it says the Ruach of God. So Vayitka b'shofar, and he blew the shofar, which we had seen before. We saw in Devorah when Barak and Devorah mustered the people of Zevulun together to defend themselves, also blowing a shofar, warning the people of Vayizoek Aviezer acharav, and he rallied the people of Aviezer, that is his clan, behind him. So now, now the people who are about to execute him see that Gideon was dressed by the Ruach of God. Exactly what they saw isn't described, but clearly they saw that Gideon was dedicated to God. Gideon was ready to be a leader, and the people realized that this is how they may be saved from this ominous threat. So first it was his own clan that joined him, but now he needs much more than just his own small clan. So Malachim Shalach B'chol Menashe. So he sent messengers throughout all of the tribe of Menashe. Vayizoek Kamhu Acharav. And he managed to get them rallied to his support. Umalachim Shalach B'Asher. And he sent messengers to other tribes that were nearby, the tribe of Asher, Uvizvulun, and the tribe of Zevulun, Uvenaftali, and the tribe of Naphtali, Vaya'alu Likrasam, and they came to join the people of Menashe. Finally, a leader is able to gather the other tribes, gather everyone together, and now they're finally starting to look like a force to be reckoned with. And now, Gideon does something that's highly questionable, and the commentaries struggle with this, and so will we. And I want to, and I've been kind of hinting towards this, or in the last two podcasts, that this is really a flaw in Gideon, and we're going to see at the end of his life what this flaw led to. But here, still, Gideon is lacking confidence. Now he managed to rally everyone together. The people, the enemy is gathered in one place. It's clearly obvious that the next stage is going to be to attack the oppressors and try to get rid of them. But he does something first. Vayomer Gideon el Elohim. Gideon now turns to God. So Gideon is now clearly established himself as a prophet. Some think that this, whenever it says, since Gideon had been speaking to God through this intermediary, through this malach, this angel, who some identify with, or some identify with a prophet of sorts, maybe it was, or some angel, but some, someone who was a prophet was talking to God. But here it seems like it's Gideon himself at this point. We just said before, he was dressed by the Spirit of God. It was clear that he was a prophet. So Gideon addresses God, just like other prophets have done that. But here he still doesn't know if God is with him. He's still not sure. Even though God assured him several times already in this chapter, God assured him that he was going to be with him. He was not going to die. He was going to be successful. He was going to save the people. But he still turns to God again and says, if you truly will save the people of Israel like you told me. In other words, he acknowledges that he was told, but are you really going to do it? Is it really going to happen? This is a flaw, and many ask the question. We know from in Deuteronomy, I think it's Deuteronomy 17, which is Lo tenasu es Hashem. We're not supposed to test God. We're not supposed to make tests for him. And here we have Gideon about to make a test. And this is verse 37. I am going to place this fleece of wool on the floor of this granary. If it's dry everywhere, but only wetness lands on the fleece, that will be the sign I'm looking for, and I'll know that you're truly with me. What does this fleece represent? What is this wetness? It's really unclear, and it's not a lot of explanations as to why he chose specifically this sign. However, the one might, tal dew is something that gives life, that brings life. Tamer, the sheep, in some places represents the people of Israel. Maybe that's what the meaning of this sign is. It's just a suggestion of mine. But the idea here is that Gideon is giving God a test, saying, make this sign for me. And vayihi chen, and such is what happened. Verse 38, vayashkemi macharas, he gets up in the morning, vayozaret hagiza, and he squeezed out this fleece of wool, vayimetz talman hagiza, and dew, moisture came out of it, melo hasef al mayim, a bowl full of water. So he has his sign. You think this is enough, but this wasn't enough. Vayomer Gideon el Elohim, and Gideon says to God again, Al yichar b'chabi, please don't be angry with me. So Gideon realizes that what he's doing is not really right, because he's asking God not to be angry. In other words, I'm doing something more. V'adabarach hapam, and I want to speak again. Anaseh, and he even uses the term, I want to test no rak hapam, just this time bagiza, with this fleece. This term, anaseh, I will test, is the term which the Torah explicitly says, lo tinasu, do not test God. Have faith. Believe in God. God has already given you the message. That's enough. What more do you need? So the commentaries bring Rabbeinu Sadia going. This is one approach, that he wasn't really testing what we're prohibited to do. But when it says we're prohibited to test God, it means to not trust that he has the ability to do something. In other words, test him, say, are you able to do this? Are you able to do that? In other words, believing that God is incapable of something. And God, of course, is capable of anything, is capable of everything. Now, that's the test that we're not supposed to test. But here, what Gideon was doing was not testing God to find out if God can defeat the Midianites. Of course he can. What Gideon was asking was, are you with us? Gideon was not sure if God was truly with us. He had seen so much suffering of the people of Israel at the hand of the Midianites. Are you really with us? Are you really with me as a leader? Am I worthy as a leader? That's what the test that he was doing. So that's one explanation that's given by Rabbi Saadia Gaon, and it's most of the classical commentaries use that approach. Another approach by the Ralbag, more Maimonidean approach, was that Gideon wasn't. This is really a dialogue between the prophet and God. This is not something that actually happened in physical world. This is a dialogue in. These are visions that Gideon is having. This is why, and Gideon, just like it says Vayomer Gideon speaking to God. Gideon is begging God for a sign in a vision. He's not asking God to show him a miracle. He's asking God because he's afraid, because he is not confident. So that lack of confidence is a flaw in Gideon. It's also his strength. It's humility. We have this humble person having this back and forth with God. Am I truly worthy? Am I truly worthy? Am I truly worthy? Show me something. And what God showed him was the signs with the fleece, which he saw in this vision, reassuring him again that he is with him. That's another approach to understanding this from the Ralbag. So Vayomer Gideon Elohim al Yichar, don't be mad at me, and I'm going to say it again. I want to test you again, Bagiza. Yina chorev al Giza levada. This time we'll do the same thing, but the opposite. Let the Giza, the fleece, be dry, v'al kol ha'aretz yatal, and all the land around it may there be moisture. So Vayas Elohim kain balayla hahu, and God did this again on that same night. And this kind of hints towards the Ralbag's approach. This happening at night gives us the idea that this is some sort of vision. Vayhi chorev al hagiza levada. This time, the dryness was only on the fleece, but there was tal all around on the land around it. So now Gideon has his sign. This concludes chapter 6. In chapter 7, we are going to continue the story of Gideon and his wars against the Midianites and his leadership at this time. Thank you so much for studying this together. Looking forward to studying chapter 7 and, of course, the rest of this book of Judges together.